everybody, it's Friday 29th of May, blog 41, Pam Steele here talking about resilience based on my book, Grit Not Shit, Living Longer, Healthier and Happier Through Developing Resilience. And we've been doing this for 40 blogs so far, and there's a hint, well no, it's not more than a hint, it looks like we're coming out of lockdown gradually, which is fantastic news. And as you can see, I'm dressed for the freedom. I've been swimming in the sea and the sun's shining yet again. So what a lovely day. And today is about a quick review of my book, of which is downloadable on crisisadvice.co.uk, a free download. So please take advantage of that. So we're coming out of lockdown, and it may well be coming out away from the blogs that I've been doing. But let's have a look at the various different chapters that we've been doing. So chapter 1 helped us get a better understanding of mental health, right from the real health bit, which is being positive, confident, having that lovely self-esteem, being optimistic, getting on with everything, coping with everything that we need to do, all the way up to that end of the pyramid, which was fortunately a lot less frequent, to severe mental disorders. And then in chapter 2 and 3, we looked at the shit that hits the fan, i.e. the stress that we have to deal with. And we've had a lot of stress over the last few months, I think. And that stress either being external, whether it's personal or work issues, or internal, which is the sort of personality that we've developed, whether we're perfectionists or control freaks or meek and mild. So, and how we can actually overcome those. So we went on to chapter 4, which looked at some of the science of our moods and behaviour, and it's really worth ploughing through that science bit because it really helps us understand, but also looking at the healthy hormones and the unhealthy hormones. So the healthy hormones being endorphins, which we primarily get from activity, from being positive, being able to achieve everything we want to achieve, but activity is the key. So if you're under stress, it really is important to keep up that exercise. And then the really unhealthy hormones, which is the cortisol and adrenaline. Adrenaline is generally good for you unless you get too much, and then you start getting the stress hormone cortisol. So again, exercise is a way of dissipating some of that cortisol because you're using up the adrenaline. So so we looked at that, and then going on to chapter 5, we looked at the research that was done around the blue zones, those people who seem to naturally be resilient, live healthily, whether it's their lifestyle or the way of thinking. A lot of them are quite religious and have a very strong community base, and they tend to be more physically active and eat much more healthily. And then we went on to 6, 7, 8, 9, which looked at the different aspects, what we call the 4 quadrants, which were the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual aspects of building resilience. So obviously embracing stress positively, spending more time with family and friends, doing more passionate hobbies, learning new skills, and being obviously much more active and healthy. So going back, we looked to the blogs, just generally over the last 10 blogs. By the way, if you want to look at the reviews for the first 30 blogs, at the end of each 10 I did a review, so have a look at the review sections. But we mainly concentrated on mental health, and particularly when having a little bit of a down period, how we can change our view, even though we're programmed to have more negative thoughts, because that's a sort of defensive survival aspect of ourselves. Remember, I said we still have a lot of caveman in us, but how we can, positively, how we can proactively change from negative thinking to positive to stop us getting into that spiral. So that's the basis of what we call cognitive behavioural therapy. And then we looked at being kind and how important being kind was, and how, if we do reach out to people, we can actively listen and really listen to people rather than just taking it in turns, as it were. So that was really important. Of course, that really helps with relationships. There's been a few struggles and challenges regarding relationships in lockdown. We then went on to blog 36, and that was we talked a little bit about suicidal thoughts and how to deal with those if it was either ourselves or to somebody we were listening to. And then I went on blog 36 to look at the difference between what a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a psychotherapist, and all of those different, and counsellor, all those different people are. Going on to, I talked about my dearest friend Jenny, who sadly died, but she was probably the kindest person I ever knew and helped so many people. And finally, we began looking at the spiritual elements of building resilience. And again, that was very much part of looking at the good and the bad of religion, the history, the bloody slaughters, the control as we moved from 2,000 years ago into the medieval period, and then on to the Renaissance, where we had this new sense of freedom and individualism, and on to the very recent, which seems to be our latest god, and that's the internet, and which is okay if it's for the good, but not so okay if it's for those rather darker sides of the internet. So incorporating self-belief, kindness, compassion, passion, meditation, and mindfulness. And that's about a quick nutshell summary of the last 40 blogs. How about that? In the last 9 chapters. So next week, we're going to be looking at how to really, if you can all carry on listening to me, because this is what puts together the whole aspect of any of the resolutions or goals that we might have coming out of lockdown. I mean, I, for one, along with a lot of other people, possibly have put a little bit of weight on, so that's going to be by being back to a really healthy approach for that. Doing a lot more exercise, that's gone down a little bit as well, but I'm not alone in that. So let's look at that next week and draw with chapter 10, conclusion to this great book. And if you like this and any of the other blogs, please share them, because the wider the audience, the better. Have a fantastic weekend and look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.